Well, a sweeping new currency management policy announced by the Central Bank of Nigeria has put a cap on cash withdrawals by individuals and corporate bodies. According to the memo released by the Apex Bank, individuals will only be able to withdraw a maximum of 100,000 naira, and companies have 500,000 naira in a week across the counter, beginning from the 9th of January. The revised cash withdrawal limits also affect other payment channels, including automated teller machines, point of sales, and check-based transactions. Mr. Habib, let's start with you first. What do you make of this arrangement by the CBN, which is targeted at promoting cashless policy? What's your reaction to this latest move?
I think the new policy should not be unexpected, given the fact that the CBN is trying to introduce new currency, So maybe they are putting in mechanisms to make it more effective and to make it work. I will start by saying that we should appreciate the CBN, what they have been doing the past 1 month, considering the appreciation that we have seen of the naira, and some policy options that have been put on the table that have been working monetarily. But my reservation is that, is this policy a well-thought one? Was it well thought? Was it well thought? Were experts, involved in the way it was formulated? How easy will it be implemented? Well, considering the character of our economy, the informal sector play a very big role. Some might even say more than 70%, So how easy would they be inculcated into the new arrangement? Because Nigeria cannot just all of a sudden, move into a cashless economy. We have to take it step by step. People in the rural areas, the bricklayers, the artisans, the traders, the farmers, how are they going to find these things? So maybe they have, maybe they know what we don't know. I'm not an economic expert, but as a modern casual observer, I'm not comfortable with the juiceful, with the rush. I think they should give it more time, maybe 6 months, to try and see how the thing will work for them to do it.
Dari, do you go with this notion, or you have a contrary view altogether?
Well, I'm just afraid that we appear to be in a hurry. That's the truth. Yeah, these policies are good. It's meant to sort of sanitize our financial system. Good. It's meant to, railroad us, as it were, towards cashless policy. Either we are ready or not. That's my fear. Because if you say, look at it, for instance, 200 naira will be the highest denomination from an ATM, and the highest you can get with 20,000 naira
per day.
That's it, if it is 100,000 naira per week. So if you know the volume of cash the informal sector needs to operate, you'll understand that this will create a lot of problems. Forget the formal sector. We always find a way around it. If the transfer is not working, you can call your account officer and all that. But what happens to those artisans who they have a contract on their hand, a building contract, for example? He needs to pay laborers. He got the money already in his account from the owner of the project. So every day he goes to withdraw money. He doesn't even have to go to the bank anymore. All these POS people there. He withdraws money and pay this malam 20,000, 15,000, 10,000. And on a daily basis, this man will have to make use of not less than 120, 150 naira, 1,000 naira cash. If all he can get, because the moment we limit the ATM withdrawals, it will affect the POS. If they can't get, they won't be able to give, because the cash they use is from the ATM. So I think whatever is worth doing at all is worth doing well. We must localize all policies. It's not as if these things are bad, but it's not the way we just receive garbage in, garbage out. No. let's try and look at our own system, our peculiarities.
Absolutely.
The truth about us for now is that these things are alien to us. This cashless policy, this online banking, is still, we have to get used to it gradually. And we must be able to, there are still places in this country where internet banking is still an impossibility. There are still places where the network itself it's neither here nor there. I have a rural area that I communicate with that. I know that before 7 in the evening, phone calls don't go through. Even if they pick it, you won't hear what they are saying. And if you must talk to them, you talk to them before 8 in the morning.
Yeah.
So 7 in the evening upward till 8 in the morning, it will be effortless. But after that, the noon hours, 10 in the morning till 6 in the afternoon or in the evening, you can't get through. If that's phone call. So what happens in such a situation with internet network? So we must examine our peculiarities and recognize them and respect them in everything we want to do. Because I don't see how Nigerians will survive, let me put it that way, with this kind of 100,000 a week ATM withdrawal. Even traders, petty traders, what they do is, the moment they sell, they go and buy more. If such people need to quickly take some money, what will happen? Let me tell you. The likely consequence of this is that people will stop putting money in the bank. Yes, if I can't get my money when I need it, why should I bank it? That is the likely consequence. And you know what that will still do to our economy. So we must look at it, juxtapose all these issues and get the best.
Yeah, so you want to add something?
In fact, that was the main issue of one expert yesterday evening, that the fear of the unknown will force people to put their money in their houses and not the banks. You know, you see, on the face value, there's nothing wrong with this policy. You know, there's nothing wrong with this policy. Nigeria need to graduate
gradually
from this. We need to move in line with the world. You know, but we don't do it in a jiffy. I mean, why the rush? Let's put in mechanisms. Let's put in place things that will make it work.
Mechanisms like what? Exactly?
Absolutely. For example, as Daddy said, if I'm sending money to my mother, for example, in Auchi, she doesn't have ATM card. Even if she has one, she doesn't know how to operate it. You have to give it to a nephew. If you go to the bank and withdraw the money, cash for her. You know, and even at that, at times the ATM machine will not work. No internet. You know, and these things, Nigeria is not an advanced country yet. There are some things that are not working here. Ordinary things like power supply, internet banking. Internet banking can be very difficult. You are going to give someone money, even in Lagos, and you are rushing to the place, all of a sudden, the thing is not working.
But if we give this as an excuse for us not to develop or to move
at par. That's why I said,
it has to be gradual.
That's why I said, my decision was very clear, my position. That is a very good policy. And I said at the initial stage that the CBN, you know, my assumption is that they are doing it to safeguard some people will not
to limit the cash flow.
They will not manipulate the new policy they are introducing to safeguard some loopholes, to block some loopholes. Yeah. You know, that's what they are doing. But how can you say January 9 for it to be effective? No, how can I? I will,
you mean it's too short?
It's too short.
Shortly after the festive season.
Yes, I don't even manage a year. Internet banking, ATM machine. If you travel outside Lagos, you see people queuing, you see a lot of queue.
On ATM machine.
It will only get worse. So what we are saying, I don't think any reasonable person will be against it. And as I said, we should appreciate the CBN, the effort so far in making sure that the naira appreciates against some foreign currencies. But at the same time, we have to be pragmatic to know that the informal sector is a critical part of our economy. But Nigeria economy is still a bit subsidiary. So we need to give room for these people to know how to use it, so that they will not graduate into it But the way it's going, January 9, to me, is too short.
And with that being said, Dari, if the time is too short, so what do you think the CBN needs to do at this point? Perhaps extend it, because that's already given out its data and the policy already is the statement out.
Time. Relax the ceiling. 100,000 naira a week. I think we need to reconsider that too. I say this because what's the volume of cash needed in the informal sector, until we find a way of ensuring that they also graduate with us into the use of internet banking and all these other mechanisms. We have to keep considering them.
Absolutely.
Go to my 12 market. Somebody is going to the market to shop for the family. You need 80,000, 120,000. And now, leaving the office, realizing that, oh, I need to do some shopping today. I got to the internet, the IC can take is 20,000 naira. The implication is that she will have to repeat the trip to the market 4 times if care is not taken. Then you consider traffic. You begin to understand why we need to. And then, oh, you want to tell me she can take the 20,000 and go and do transfer of.
But is it a?
You can do transfer of the rest.
Yes.
I tell you, yesterday I was not with cash at all, and I needed to get something 1,000 naira. I tried withdrawing money. The bank I was using, they said that's network issue. So I decided that okay, I'll go to the place. I sent money, and I waited almost 20 minutes.
All right, let me hold your thoughts on this because we have a caller all the way from the UK. Michael, please go ahead with your contribution. Oh dear. Michael, are you still there? Apologies, perhaps maybe we've lost the connection.
So
there. Okay, go ahead.
saying? The delay in even confirming the transfers. Sometimes, if you're honest with both parties, this money just hangs somewhere. I've had issues with transfer that I made that did not get delivered until the second day. I'm sure we've all experienced it. Yeah. So what happens if that is what I have to rely on in my 12? I go to a pepper seller and I've just transferred 10,000 naira for a basket of tomato and I have to sleep there till tomorrow.
Okay, I understand we have Michael back online.
We need to understand.
Let's quickly have Michael back online. Michael, please go ahead with your contribution.
Hello, thank you very much. Regarding the CBN, and cash withdrawal, I think what they're missing out, like your guests in the studio, they said all the way the right things. But when launching out a product, it's a banking policy. I believe that definitely you should get to test it against the reality in the market, because definitely, like Nigerians, the exposure to internet banking and a lot of things it's kind of very low. Then when they said 100,000, I believe even for an individual, there are some families or individuals that their weekly expenses is even more than that. Because at the end of the day, you're telling someone that okay, they're only limited to a certain number of cash, and then what do? What would the normal, day-to-day trader, how would they be able to live with that kind of policy? So I believe, my view is that I believe their policy is not really being tested against the reality on ground. And to me, that is a wrong way to launch a policy like that.
Thank you so much. I appreciate your insights, Michael. Thank you so much for your insight. Now, let me come back to you, Dari. You made a valid point. But, some argument is this is the argument. You're withdrawing 100,000 a week, making 400,000 a month. How many people earn that amount? I don't know. But if you were to look at it in a logical sense, you cannot withdraw 20,000 naira daily. So even if you are to do the math, for instance, I'm a woman, I go to the market, I know how I shop and everything. So if I were to do the calculation, I would say, okay, Monday I withdraw 20,000, Tuesday I withdraw 20,000, Thursday, Wednesday I withdraw another 20,000, making 60,000. So I have the money in my hand. I prepared for the week of my shopping.
Ask you a question. Where do you keep the money Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday?
In my own comfort. At least in my home, or in my home at least.
So that's exactly what we are saying. That in the long run, more monies will leave the bank and end up in the houses. And that's not good for our economy either, if you must know. That is one. I just have to point that out to you, that it is exactly what we fear, that we end up, because you know how much you need. You now start doing babalajo. Maybe you even get Yalajo to be keeping the money for you eventually. That is on one side. On the other side is the fact that you are looking at the individual expenses. That's not the entirety of our economy. That's not the entirety of the informal sector. We talk about people who need money to do business.
On a daily basis.
On a daily basis. We talk about the tailor who needs to go and buy garments daily as the demands come. We talk about a building contractor who needs to pay his workers as demands. We talk about an egg seller who needs to sell and rush to the poultry to go and buy.
Major point.
So this affects majorly the business owners.
Not just them. I'm telling you that we must not look at, because I've had somebody do the same mathematics you did.
Right.
If you are to withdraw 400,000 a month, that's more than the salary of some people. I agree. But we're not talking about personal earnings and personal expenditures. It's an economy. Our personal earnings are part of it. The businesses of some people rely on daily cash. There are people who a laborer, wherever it comes from, not all of them even have an account to collect money from you. You say, you have finished work today. I'll send your 12,000 naira labor money into your account. He will look at you. There are those who, the I-9 is not even working. He does not even know where his ATM is. And all he rely on daily is, give me my money
Cash,
in my hand. He comes to work, not having transport to even go back. But when you pay him his daily money, he will eat, and he knows how to keep the rest.
Right.
Whether he saves it in the bank or with a contributory pension or whatever, you don't know. So we cannot assume at this point just yet that we are ready for this.
Before I take your contribution, let me quickly get this. Moses from Abuja, please go ahead.
Hello.
Yes, good evening. We can hear you. Go ahead with your contribution.
Yeah, Moses coming from Abuja. Please, I want to speak briefly on this new policy of CBN. I want to speak from the perspective of the POS operators. Whether we like it or not, the POS business has come to stay in Nigeria, and in a way, it has taken so many youth from the streets. But with this policy now, I don't know if it is going to affect them also, because if they cannot get withdrawal from the bank or from the ATM machine, then how would they run their business? So that is where most of them feed on. That is one. Then secondly, if they are to go through the counter, that's all that you have to withdraw a maximum of 100,000 in a day. If you want to withdraw more than that, you pay 5% of it. If I'm to pay 5% of whatever amount and to pay, then definitely I have to transfer that to the end to those that will come and withdraw. So in a way, we are still going to shift more burden to the Nigerians who are going to use who are using those platforms. So I think this policy.
Thank you so much for your insights. We appreciate your contribution. Habib, you have something to say?
You see, if you look at the general paradigm, we have aggregate people's opinion on this policy. It's not good for the CBN, even though to me the CBN has their own point. They mean well. But how we advise that the outpouring of reservations that has been expressed by Nigerians should be looked into by the CBN. 1. 2, people that are supposed to implement this policy, the front line people that will implement on the front line, they should be advised to be more circumspect, to be more careful in the way they should not be too rigid, And I will also advise the CBN to please move forward the date from 9 to maybe in June next year. Because people will suffer. A policy that makes people to suffer, that policy to me is not tidy. It's not a good one. So it will affect the economy. And as you said, Nigeria will not reach that stage yet. That people will say, okay, let me send money to you. No, we'll not reach that stage yet. We don't even have we are not advanced to that level. We don't have the infrastructure.
Technology is
not there to do it. So we have to be very careful. Yes, good. Yes, for the new currency to be stabilized, for people not to mess it up, not to create unnecessary loopholes. But at the same time, people should not suffer for the policy to be implemented.
At the same time, there are some concerns that perhaps while this policy might be laudable, they say that the government, the CBN is focusing too much on this and rather, shifting its attention on other issues such as the debt payments it has accumulated over the years. Perhaps it should focus more on the debts as against the energy expended on this
See,
issue
everything will
altogether.
have to go side by side. I don't want to agree that the CBN is leaving every other thing and focusing on this. No. If you look at what I would call the management of the naira, the strength of the naira so far, they've been trying.
Commendable.
They've been trying. It could have been worse.
Yeah.
But for certain quick moves, as I want to call them, so the CBN, to me, is having its hands in a lot of pies. This is just one of it. And don't mind our fears about the implementation. We actually need this policy. That's the truth. We need this policy. If naira will compete favorably against other currencies the world over, we need to be where others are. And one of it is, I'm particularly happy about the idea of 200 naira being the highest denomination you can get from an ATM. The implication is that there will be more 200 nairas in circulation than other, and that will
Higher
force
denomination.
some things to, be reasonably priced. I tell you, volume
So are you
of
saying to
money,
control inflation?
it will control inflation, I tell you, in a way, because it will now be reasonable for me to do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 200 naira and give somebody who just gave birth.
Right.
Yes. But if all they see around is 1,000 naira, I can't do one. I may not want to do one. You just take one and say, no. But if I have, you realize that now the lesser denominations are scarce.
Right.
Why 1,000 is everywhere.
Let me quickly take John from Jos. Oh, apologies, we've lost John on the
So,
line.
that's what I'm saying. So
Right, go
in
ahead.
the lesser denomination, the more control spending is. For those who still believe in spraying musicians, if they don't get 200 naira, they'll spray 1,000 naira. That's how bad the habit is. So I think for also, 200 is the highest, meaning the 100 naira will see it, 50 naira will be there, and
Perhaps
probably...
the coins too.
And the coins. So I could now buy things for 40 naira and expect to be given.
Don't you have,
The change.
don't you have coins?
We have coins,
We
but I'm
still
just
have.
saying perhaps
We
maybe
hardly
it's
spend
into
it.
the
You
coins to
hardly spend it.
emerging, perhaps.
We give
And
no, but because nothing goes for the price of coin again.
But when we were,
That's how bad it is.
when we were growing up, they give us coins and we appreciate it.
When last did you
Put
even
it
set
in our
your
safe.
eyes on 10
A
naira?
long time.
10 naira.
Long time.
I've not seen 5 naira in a
let's-
long time.